of omens. Give me sight beyond sight. Beyond sight. Beyond sight.
Nah, but it's good. It is Sight Beyond Sight. You already know what it is. We are here tonight. It's your boy Andrew with the host Nick. We got Marissa here. We got Thomas here as well. We're gonna break down the new Candyman from what's his name?
Jordan Peele.
Jordan Peele. Everybody wants to say Key and Peele.
Yeah, it's so hard to remember which one is which. They just one and one, then honestly. But yeah, we're here to break that down and give a whole rundown of how we felt about the movie. We're gonna talk about What If as well. And probably just go from there.
And the Spider-Man trailer.
Oh yeah, Spider-Man trailer. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We're just gonna go from
there. But we're gonna talk about Spider-Man first, and we'll do the normal.
Which one? Do Spider-Man before What If? Like how you? What do you mean?
You can do that. We could do this, then Spider-Man, then What If.
Okay.
So we're gonna do the whole thing. A quick summary of what the movie was, likes, dislikes, and I guess we're related to the original since this is a sequel.
Well, that's something you should have not said it in that way. We should have said that.
It's not a big bad. It's not a bad thing.
and just
no, but that actually, honestly, to me, like I felt like that was like the biggest surprise of it. Like, it was like, oh shit, he's tying in everything to one.
But that's because it would have been known. Like, but no one does research. Like, you just have to. If you go into like the description, it's like it's a sequel to this movie.
Right.
So it's not. It says a sequel to the original.
Right, but
so it's not really a spoiler, but we will give spoilers.
Yeah, so beware.
Yes.
So Marissa, you want to kick it off with the summary?
So okay. The way that it seems to start is there's an artist who is moved in with his girlfriends who bought a new house in a newly gentrified area of Chicago, which, as you know, if you've watched the original Candyman, it's set in Chicago. So there's like the undertones of gentrification, yet they are both successful African-American couple. He's an artist and she is like an how do you say an art promoter? She's like
maybe just like a promoter or something.
Whatever
honestly, like an art gallery promoter.
Yeah. So basically he's in a rut. He needs to make new art. So he's having a dinner party and his brother-in-law's over and he starts to tell a scary story. And he starts to tell the story of Candyman, and not of Candyman, excuse me. He starts to tell the story of
the first movie.
Of the first movie. So the woman in Candyman, Helen. So he tells the story of Helen as if it was Candyman. So, and the story is obviously not accurate because, you know, things get.
Yeah, because in the story says that Ellen tried to get the baby into the fire.
Right. So, but you know how stories go. They kind of morph and whatever. So you're like, okay, that's kind of interesting. And you kind of get a sense of like, are they really going to change the whole story or are they just kind of, you know, whatever. So then he starts to research that story and he becomes obsessed with it. And it goes on and he starts to walk around to the old area of Cabrini Green and all this stuff, starts taking pictures, much like the first movie with Helen. And then he meets someone who still lives there or in the area. I still didn't understand that part.
You gotta, the key part of it besides that guy is he got stung by the bee.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sorry. As he was taking pictures, he gets stung by a bee when he's taking pictures of an old church, and he gets stung in his hand by a bee. Sorry about that. My fault. And then he meets the dude, but he ignores the bee sting because, you know, get bee stings all the time, whatever. So he starts to talk to the guy. The guy starts to tell him more stories. And he does more research and he's getting more and more obsessed, but not just obsessed, kind of like, what's the word I'm looking for?
He's a stan.
He's an overly stan. He becomes like, so he starts painting again. He gets excited and he paints this new series of pictures and they're going to show it at the art gallery. And what's interesting, what I really enjoyed was, it was a reference from the first movie. he in the art gallery puts up a medicine cabinet essentially,
Yeah.
or like a
Mirror, like
mirror, but
medicine
but it's
cabinet,
like
yeah.
a medicine cabinet. So you open up the mirror and it looks into another room with his art in it,
Yeah.
which I thought that was very clever because
Yes.
they
It was.
never kind of alluded to knowing about that, you know
Yeah.
what I mean, about the holes in the walls and things like that. It all kind of like
I ain't gonna lie, I deadass thought the art was the mirror. I was
for
like,
a
yo,
while.
he really actually just gave them a piece of paper and said, "Look at my mirror." Like,
Oh, and it had instructions to say Candyman because at this
Yeah.
point he's like, oh, and when the guy that he meets, part of the story he tells him is that when he's a kid, he goes to do laundry in the basement of the apartment building, and there's a hole in the wall, and the police are looking for this man who is supposedly giving children candy with razor blades in it, because if you are as old as me, you remember that back in the day you had to check your
Yeah.
Halloween candy because there was people putting razor
that
blades
shit
in
look
candies.
really
And we
fucked
were
up
still
in the movie.
going out.
Nah, you know what's the
trick-or-treating.
crazy shit? Like, I've never seen it ever in my life, but that I see it in the movie, I was like, damn, that would have been fucked up to see. I would have been like, damn it, asshole, like
Yeah.
my Snicker bar.
You know what's really messed up about that? It turned into an urban legend, but
Yeah.
it only happened like once in Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like one crazy
That's
dude.
some strong
But the
shit
same
right
thing
there.
with the aspirins. There was like something with the aspirins back in the 80s too that you had to
Yeah, the pull apart
that's-
aspirins, the two parts. When the Tylenol, you could actually open it up by twisting the top and bottom cap,
and
they
that's
used to put
why
stuff in
that's
there.
why they made the seals on the top of medicine caps, so
Yeah.
you would know if it was tampered with. Anyway, so I digress. So as he's kind of delving deeper and deeper into this whole Candyman thing, and his hand is getting worse and worse. Like this bee sting is spreading, it's becoming disgusting and festering.
Yeah, kind of. It looks like his hand is rotting.
Yeah, so there's very much themes of Fly, you know, pulls off his nail, picks off his skin, you know, stupid shit like that. But after the art gallery thing, the head of the art gallery and his little twig girlfriend or whatever, they're cleaning up, and they're kind of talking about this fight that they have with the artist, because apparently nobody understands me, you know, kind of bullshit. And he gets drunk, curses the guy out, but whatever. So him and his girlfriend, of course, are messing around in front of the mirror, and they say the Candyman, and that's like the first of the murders. But it ties back to the artist because it just so happened to be, you know, at his exhibit, because he kind of coaxed people into doing it, but nobody really did until they did after the show. But when he sees the news the next day, instead of being like, oh my God, I'm horrified, because they said the name of his exhibition, or they said his name or whatever,
Famous.
and he got excited, and his girlfriend's like, the hell?
Yeah.
You know? And then like his girl, we find out, has trauma because her father was an artist and she watched him commit suicide, which was a very random
That was a very random scene. Like it made you didn't need to put that in.
Who cares?
Like she's
It was.
Who cares?
traumatized. Like, okay.
Who cares?
He was just like, let you know. Because that shit was mad random.
Right. And they did have a lot of political stuff in the well, not a lot. They had a pretty decent amount of political stuff in the movie, but nothing overt, nothing like, oh, I gotta roll my eyes.
kind of knew that was gonna
Yeah.
happen when going into the movie.
No, I get it,
Honestly.
because it was in the first movie too.
Yeah.
But I was nervous because he tends to be very heavy-handed with the messages.
Mm.
And I don't think that you need to be heavy-handed with
Okay.
messages.
Well, we keep getting confused. He didn't direct it. This
No,
lady,
he did the
Nina-
screenplay though.
I know, but Nina still, you know, I feel like she had to say in it somewhat.
Of course, of how the screenplay kind of
Mm.
gets visualized. I understand that. So out of all this, things keep progressing. He keeps and what they don't really say is he complains that he's having like nightmares and stuff,
Yeah.
and the wife is having nightmares and all this stuff, but they don't go into like what his nightmares are or whatever, but he starts to see Candyman in reflection. So there's an elevator scene, very poltergeist elevator scene, because the inside of the elevator is all mirror. in a freaking public library, which is bullshit. Come on. They'd be markered all over that place. But that's like the first time he really like sees him, like full on sees him. And it's creepy. It's not the Tony Todd. This Candyman, the Tony Todd. This Candyman is the Candyman of the guy's story. So he's the one giving kids candy, right? So you see his image, but he still has a hook. But it looked like he more had like one of those
prosthetic hooks.
It was the
prosthetic
original hook was a prosthetic hook.
Yeah. So like maybe he was in Vietnam or something, and you know.
Mercer's just making up a story now.
Yeah, I don't know.
He has a whole backstory now.
Maybe. I mean, it was the 70s. So. And he also he goes to see this art critic who at first hated his exhibit, but now after all the shit that happened, now she's like, oh, I love it. It's so insightful and blah, blah, you know, kind of like with everything. Nobody cares until there's a fucking tragedy. So he goes to see her. He dares her to go say Candyman. And she's like, whatever, I'm not going to do that. But then she's like, I need to use the bathroom. And he said something.
It's a perfect time.
Yeah, like now's a good time as any. Basically saying, all right, go say it in the bathroom. So he's just sitting in her living room, picking at the nasty scab on his hand, which is fucking disgusting. Like, who does that? And then he wraps his hand up in a towel he finds and goes to like find her, like, where has she gone? And for some strange reason, she has a huge mirror in her hallway, which was weird.
A hallway mirror. People like hallway mirrors.
I guess so. I don't know. It's just awkward. But then he sees in his instead of his reflection, it's Candyman. So I thought that was gonna mean that the Candyman was gonna like take him over, and that was what the infection was. But I was wrong. That didn't happen.
No, I'll get into my theories of that, but
okay. So you're almost meant to think that like she's getting murdered in the bathroom, like while all this is going on, but that's not what happens. But one thing that I do have to admit though, if you pay attention and you see all the subtle Candymans in the background of things, I kind of like that. It was kind of like the Where's Waldo of the movie. And it's like, oh, look, he's like in the reflection of that toaster, you know, like whatever. So she comes out and she looks at him like, what the hell? Like, are you all right? And he storms off and he goes to this dinner that his wife made him kind of go to. And this to me was a really cool scene because they're panning away from her apartment, which is a really swank apartment. And you see all these, like, nobody has shades. So everybody's lights who's on, you can see into their apartment. So your eye tends to like go and see what's in the other apartments. But then you look at her apartment and as soon as the door closes, all you see is her being mutilated and dragged across her window, which I thought was very nicely done.
Yeah, me too.
Like, I just felt like, oh, okay. I see what they were doing there. It was a kind of artistic, kind of like, you know, it wasn't super gory, super scary or anything. It was just like, oh, okay, I see what you did there. So he goes off to this dinner and his wife is trying to, you know, talk to other industry people, trying to get ahead. And he's sitting there picking his hand at the table again, which is gross. And then out of nowhere, he just gets up and stomps away again, right?
No, they said that.
Oh, they
the
said
lady died, and then he was.
That's right. They got notification that the lady died, so he freaks out and he leaves. And he goes to see the laundromat guy again, and the laundromat guy tells him more of the story, and he's kind of like lost at this point. I feel like he doesn't know where else to not physically go, but he doesn't know what the fuck to do with himself.
Yeah.
So he goes back and he's like furiously like painting all these big canvases and stuff.
No. He did that before. He
went
went back because when he finds out the lady died after he runs out of the dinner, his wife goes home and sees all the paintings. He's like, don't look at it, and broke everything. And then that's when everything like
he breaks the mirror. So then she
she was gonna say candy.
Wait, at what point does he go to the hospital? I forget. Oh, after this. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. After he basically tells his wife, I brought back Candyman, it's all my fault. And she's like, you fucking crazy, like whatever. And she's like, watch, I'll show you that you're full of shit. And she starts to do Candyman in the mirror, and he smashes every mirror in the room. And she takes off. And he, I guess, passes out or sleeps on the floor. When he wakes up, his hand is like full of glass because he just slept on all this glass. And he goes to the hospital, and then they're treating him and whatever. Not for his disgusting ass bee bite, just for the damn glass.
And not for the face or anything.
And like, it's all up his face. It's just ridiculous. So then this would never happen in a hospital ever, because people would never look this up. But they're like, oh, welcome back. And he's like, oh, I've never been here before. They're like, yeah, you were born here. The fuck would you know that? Like, really? You're gonna like pull up his chart from, what is he, 30? So like whatever. And so I'm like, okay, that's dumb. But it progresses the story. So he never knew where he was born. Who doesn't know where they were born? Whatever. So he goes to see his mother, and ta-da, his mother is exactly the same actress from the first
original.
movie. And she is the mother that has the baby that's taken.
Yeah.
Hence,
He's
ipso facto,
Yeah.
he is Anthony, as she said in the original.
Anthony.
Anthony.
And you find out that he finds the true story of what happened, and the white lady wasn't this evil being, but
Right.
actually saved him from the fire because Candyman was going to burn the baby alive.
But
Sacrifice.
before that, Candyman had instilled in his little baby brain. He kind of already,
They give him
Oh, so
Candyman
it's like
voodoo.
He
Yeah.
cursed him
Yeah.
to be the next.
yeah, he had already implanted that. So they had a promise in the projects that nobody would ever say his name again until some stupid ass teenagers, of fucking course, say his name again, and the Candyman returns. Now, what we, all this stuff happens, and everything, and the action just starts from there, pretty much. So we're not going to get into every detail, but essentially, you learn that Candyman was not just Tony Todd's character. It's all of these senseless murders of these Black men in the same area, in the almost not the same ways, but like basically getting blamed for something that they didn't do, or for just being Black in a white
it's
neighborhood, or
Yeah.
all the
things
original
like that.
unjust aspect of what the original
All the injustices.
Candyman movie is. Like
right.
the
So-
original Candyman was an unjust aspect of how he
Right.
died.
Yeah.
And that's
Right.
what this is.
Yeah. And the way it ended was
unjust, I
Okay,
did.
go ahead.
Okay.
But-
So the way it ends, the laundromat guy is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, and he basically is like, okay, like he also wants to bring back Candyman and like continue the legacy and all this and that. So I don't know. This is where the movie shits the bed for me a little bit,
All right.
because how is he controlling the dude? Like, okay, so the artist guy, right? He is now fully affected by like this bee sting. Half of his body is covered in disgusting holes and is like rotting
Yeah.
or whatever. His eyes all white, whatever. And he's basically doing whatever this guy is telling him to do.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't understand why that was
Some
happening.
voodoo. We ought to just
Yeah.
believe in
I don't-
voodoo. There's a lot of voodoo in the
I don't really think
Candyman
that
lore.
he was, like, controlling him, maybe. I'm not sure.
But
about
he was
that.
not. It's like his mind was not there anymore.
Well, he was already all fucked up from when the bee thing went. Like
Yeah.
it became like a thing. It took over. Like you don't get stung by a bee and become what he became.
No,
Like-
obviously it was. I understand that part, but the fact that this guy was like, he like casually he said, "Hey, let me get your hand,"
And he
and
did
sawed
it.
the motherfucking shit off. Like, I don't know. Like
Maybe
that
he
just kind of
was ready to become Candyman. Like he knew that was what he was supposed to. That
maybe.
was the Candyman voodoo that Candyman put on him.
Oh, okay,
That he
maybe.
knew that he was supposed to be the next Candyman prophecy.
Gotcha.
Also, the thing I liked was when the guy was getting the hook put on
Yeah.
his hand, he opened up a case, and I think that was the hook from the first movies. That's from the fire. So that was a pretty cool touch
Yeah. No.
because it had
Possible.
photos of Helen.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that must have been the one from like the
Helen.
fire.
Yeah.
I wish I had an editor so I could. Because I was thinking
Hello.
about it. Why we kept
No,
talking
I
about-
don't think so because
Hello.
they threw that into her grave when she died in the first movie.
Yo.
Remember?
I mean, you might.
Hey, that
Maybe.
nigga's voice.
Someone must have like digged it up. Like
Maybe.
that would have been the best.
So when all this is happening, they had taped up the girlfriends or duct taped the girlfriend. The girlfriend escapes. Crazy guy goes after the girlfriend. That crazy laundromat guy goes after the girlfriend in these tunnels. Which why is there tunnels everywhere? There's like literally
It
tunnels
was the
everywhere.
ghetto tunnel hood.
I guess.
That's a kid.
And like
and it's funny because they went to the church. The
Yeah.
tunnels led to the apartment buildings apparently, and then she gets out of the
Uh-uh.
tunnel
I don't know
and
if
then
you looked
goes
up.
back into the apartment.
I can believe Chicago has tunnels when you hear about all the gun violence. Like, I need a tunnel just to walk to another apartment. Like, this shit is crazy out there how they just shoot. Like, it's insane.
So yeah, I don't understand that. She literally gets herself out of the tunnel, goes directly into the house right there. I'm
A
like,
dark
what the
house.
freak? Go
No
through that
lights.
open gate that was right there that led to a main street. What's wrong with you? Anyway,
Nah, she ain't wanna do
so and what I thought was funny too is the guy goes to attack her. She tries to lift a lead pipe and she can't lift
She's
it
like,
because
"Ah,
she's
shit."
so weak.
that. Yeah.
So she grabs a pen and stabs the
Yeah, because-
living
Nah, there was
shit
a
out of
good
it.
because
few
the
things.
pen she cut the I think it was actually
The rope.
rope.
Yeah. Or duct tape. I think it was duct
Yeah.
Yeah,
tape.
because actually that's the pen that you found.
Yeah.
And how to find them.
Right. So, and then after she's like stabbing him to death, and her boyfriend artist guy is in the doorway, and he says, "I think he's dead." And so she freaks out and tells him to go away, and he just steps up to her and then like passes out in her arms, which was kind of dumb. And then the police come, and of course, without any explanations, put your hands up, bang, 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 and shoots the guy laying down that she's holding, which if they really wanted to make a statement, they would have fucking shot her too.
But you
wouldn't
can't
let- they would
necessarily
not-
say he was laying down. We didn't see him get up.
She was holding him.
He
He
probably
was
got up
laying
again. You
down.
never know if he got back up. Maybe he fucking had like Candyman strength and got back up. They just didn't
You
show
better
it.
watch it. Some black
Yeah,
people are
like-
gonna not like that comment. You're siding with the
I'm
cop.
pretty sure it is the
Right.
hook hand.
Like
He saw
he-
the hook hand. He thought it was a weapon.
I understand that, but he's
He was laying
laying
down,
down,
Yeah, I know,
and his
yeah.
arms, his eyes were closed. He was actively dying, and they shot him. And in real life, they would have shot her too. I mean, keep
Nah,
it
that's what
100.
honestly I was waiting for, as fucked up as it sounds. But
I thought that
I was
a weapon,
expecting them
Yeah.
to shoot her by mistake or whatever and be like, oh, da da da. And then have Candyman come back and kill them because they killed her. But
Yeah.
they flipped all that on.
So anyway, so
Like,
they handcuff her, put her in a cop car. The cop basically said either A, you're gonna tell our story, or B, you're gonna tell your story and go to jail for the rest of your life, pretty much.
mm.
And we're gonna tell people that you're crazy, blah blah blah. And then she says, I will if you let me see myself, which is another weird thing too. Like, I just want to see myself. She could have like came up with another excuse, or just looked in the window, because the window would have your
I guess, yeah,
reflection.
technically, yeah, you could have just
or
looked
like
in the
the
window.
side view mirror.
Yeah,
Which is very
something.
true.
Yeah,
very true.
like that was such a stupid thing. And then she, instead of going, Candyman, like really fast, like let me get this shit out before they make me
Nah,
stop.
you gotta build it. You gotta
No,
build
so
it
she
with
did real
suspense.
slow. I'm like,
She didn't even know how to say it like the
It's
first two
that-
times. She
that's
was just
always
like,
what
"Should I say
happens."
Candyman?
yeah.
Candyman." And then the cop's
Candyman.
like, "What you said?" I was like, "Nigga, you like 2 Candymans too late, man." The guy like, by the time you fucking turn around, she's like, "Candyman,
Yeah.
Candyman."
And then Candyman, as her boyfriend, the painter, comes alive and starts killing every cop everywhere. And they're locked in the car. They can't get out. And what's really kind of cool is like he goes around, and this is one of your favorite
Yeah,
parts.
because then it was from one of the parts was from the original movie where it was the booming voice, and you like this. You liked
Yeah.
it from the first movie. It was the booming voice because it wasn't like a whisper, like
Yeah.
oh, I could have shut it off. I'm hearing something. It was like a booming voice. It's just like I'm here. I'm here. Like I'm something evil.
It's bass. There's a lot of bass. That's
Yes. But he goes around the car, and as he goes around the car, his image changes to all the different Candymans from
Yeah.
all the different centuries or whatever,
Because-
decades, I should say,
yeah, because
centuries,
He goes to the
decades.
ultimate
Because
Candyman.
Yeah, and then he goes to the ultimate Candyman, and it is the Tony Todd.
Tony Todd.
But overall, I thought it was well done. I don't have too many complaints. It wasn't. We watched the original before we watched this one. It is not. It is not a creepy movie.
No, it's
M-
not.
It's
More like a
just
psychological horror.
kind
You
of,
can't even say that really because I don't feel like because it wasn't.
but it was
scary,
entertaining.
It wasn't like,
But it was entertaining. It has it. It had its creepy parts.
there
It
was
did
no
not
build-up to
have.
scary, though.
There was no. In the first movie, there was a hell of a lot of jump scares,
Yeah,
like
but that's-
tons. There was nothing, not
Uh-huh.
even a one in this one. So that didn't really scare me. The imagery I thought was creepy, like seeing the
Nah.
guy's face all bashed in
See,
and
that
stuff like
didn't
that.
do nothing for me. Yeah, that didn't do nothing. Like I think the original look of what was it, Tony Todd. Like his original look was way more creepier than this Candyman's look. Like honestly, there's no way.
There's
how that's
nothing
creepy.
scary about a painter's like
The
jumpsuit.
original look, the nigga was all with the bees in him. It was all dark. It
yes.
was all creepy. His arm, you could
Yeah.
see the
Yeah.
fucked up in his hand. Like that was
Yeah.
scary. Like this nigga with the fucking light brown coat and his face beat up. It was just like, all right, like it, like there was.
It
nothing
didn't
there.
give you that
Like,
fear.
Yeah, I would have been, I'll fight you.
Mm.
Like,
Yeah.
I would have been like, yo, I can fight you, my guy. Like, there's
Like you're already
nothing-
halfway beat up anyway.
Like, it was really nothing really scary.
Yeah, I
about
don't
him.
think they
Like,
really should have
yeah.
had him shown as beat up because they
Mhm.
didn't show Candyman as being the original as being beat up all the time. He just looked
Nah,
like a regular dude.
Until he opened his.
That's when you
Yeah,
see
Yeah,
because
and then it was all
Yeah.
like what is that? Scrooged. Remember
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
elevator
yeah.
scene? That's what it reminded me of.
Yeah, but he did have the hook hand. He it was bloody, so
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was the only creepy part was it was like a oozy kind of thing. But this guy, he didn't have that because he was already stumpy, like with like an actual prosthetic. So I guess they needed something to make him look a little
Because
bit.
they did change it when after they basically show him in the beginning where they do the whole scare with the kid. After they show him again, they show the actual like hook because
Mhm.
I at first thought it was gonna be what they showed originally, like the prosthetic shit.
Yeah,
And I was like, all right, I'm already pissed. And then I
yeah,
was like, all right, cool. Now they went back to hook because I was like, ain't nobody slicing people up with a fucking prosthetic. Like
yeah.
that shit
That would
don't
be
work
like
that way.
that would be
Yeah.
like cutting somebody with a spoon.
Basically, yeah, Those
but
are little things like that.
The
that-
only thing
yeah.
I didn't notice, and maybe if anybody else did, in the original, when they gutted people, they
Yeah.
made like the
Yeah.
tearing and the ripping sounds. I don't think they did that in this.
yeah, they did a little bit lighter.
It was very much more subtle. The girls in the bathroom, the teenagers in the bathroom, to me
All right.
was hilarity. Like I just felt like it was like do. You know what I
They
mean?
all
Like
walked right into everything.
yeah, and it was just like silliness. Like it wasn't even to me very scary. And they tried to do that weird thing with the bees on the fucking glass on the mirror, and I was like, oh,
And that's
stop,
where
stop.
It lacks because you use the bees for that, but you don't use it when you actually show the person or like put it on. Like
Yeah,
just have some type of aura to it. Like there was
Mhm.
nothing there to it.
not like the original where Tony Todd actually had live bees
Todd.
in his mouth.
Yeah.
I mean, that was dedication.
I need a
Live.
drop for fucking Tony.
He got
Todd.
stuck. for that one.
Yeah, he did.
He got stung.
What about you, Thomas? What do you think?
It's a great movie, and the end with the puppets and then killing the
Oh, the puppetry
What,
was
in the
great.
Oh, yeah, the
credits
poetry was
thing?
great.
Yeah.
Alright.
and that sort of reminded me how like Candyman isn't like a person or a single person; it's a hive, and that's why the bees and all
Oh,
that.
That's cool.
Yeah,
That's
so
cool.
They
so-
are.
They also made the correlation that the bees are the cops
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't see that.
because
They're stinging them. And all
Yeah,
that.
Yeah.
Nah, they used it a lot when they were saying it throughout the
Yeah.
movie,
and it's when they were in the church and he says something about
But it makes sense.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
when you think
they're
about, like, the
swarming. He
first
goes,
one,
they're
yeah,
swarming or something like that.
That's what bees.
So something
do.
like a
Mm,
buzz.
they-
Yeah.
That's what I think that was in the original.
And what about you, Andrew?
What you mean? What about me?
You like the movie? You didn't?
No, I honestly I fucked with it. I really did like the movie. I knew what I was going into. I was hoping for maybe a little bit more gore, but this guy doesn't really do a lot of violence in his movies.
Yeah.
So was it?
Which I'm not sure why he gets into horror movies if he doesn't. do
Yeah,
that.
because he doesn't really do a lot of shit like that. Like
Yeah.
us would have been a good stabby stab.
Yeah.
And there was like one scene where that was like you could see blood like that.
Yeah.
But and that was the same show with this, like that just showed, but it was very.
It was a lot of blood and very bad
Yeah.
blood.
Yeah,
Like,
honestly,
way
'cause
too
the
much K-Rose
CGI
syrup.
in the
In the bathroom scene.
yeah, like that was like I don't
Like,
it,
you could have done that.
It looked like the original Nightmare on Elm Street, like
Yeah.
bad
Yeah.
blood, like
Yeah,
that
yeah.
It doesn't just work. It didn't fit. But besides that, I fucked with it. I like the little ending with Tony Todd coming out and shit like
Yeah.
that. I like the story being more told in the right way, like especially because earlier in the day, like talking with coworkers about the movie, like I was saying, like nah, like I said, like he's the original black superhero. Like his lore is a certain thing to it,
Mhm.
and the aspect of what it is, like why he died and
Right.
everything. And that's what this movie basically built to. Like if you really look at it, and then I was 100% right. Like,
Yeah.
but nah, I fucked with it. It was a good movie. It wasn't disappointing, honestly. Like,
And
it's
it wasn't
watchable,
it
yeah.
wasn't totally in your face political.
no, it's not.
They could have been a little bit more subtle. Like I feel like, I don't know, that last scene bothered me, but all the other political
No,
stuff
'cause
did
the
not
last
bother
scene
me.
was very OD supernatural. Like
No,
I don't give
I
a-
mean the last scene
With the
when the
cops.
cop when the
yeah, with
cops
the
came
cops,
in.
yeah, 'cause,
I'm
like,
like,
the nigga woke up and he was like killing people.
no,
and then
no,
it
no,
turned
but-
to
no,
Tony
no,
Todd.
how that
She's
Oh.
saying the
should-
political part was the cop just goes through the fucking door.
Oh,
goes,
shot,
Yeah.
shot,
put your
shot,
guns, put your hands down, pop out. Like it was
like it was just overdone. You know what I mean? Like it
that
was
was
just
way too forced.
It was
Yes,
forced. It
yes.
was forced.
they could
I'm
have
not
done it
even
better.
arguing that.
They
It
could have
was
done it
forced.
better.
See, and this is why I'll say I feel like I'm men on film right now.
Yeah.
I hated it. I hated the movie. There was two good things I thought the movie was good for. Actually, three. One, the puppetry.
Yes.
I thought that was cool. That was a cool visual. One, I almost didn't like the storytelling of the Candymans, but then I was just like, nah, it kind of makes sense. You know, like
Yeah.
it's like all right, you done this person wrong, and they're
Yeah.
coming back as like a revenge.
It could be
Ghost killer
anybody.
thing.
It just
Yeah.
happens to be this.
And what was the third? And bringing back the one old actress and tying in the original movie.
Yeah.
And not
I
the
mean,
others,
yeah.
2 and 3.
That
Yeah.
was good.
Everything else is fucking horrible.
Well,
One-
I'm
one,
not gonna
the
say
new-
like the acting parts of
the
like
acting-
everything was great. I'm not gonna say that.
No.
Acting wise,
Like-
stupid.
Yeah.
You get bit on your hand. Your hand's deteriorating. You're an artist. You
I
don't
agree
think to
100%.
go to the
That's-
doctor.
Yeah.
And to your fucking face. Okay.
You heard me in the movie. I was making jokes about that. Like I agree 100%.
Yeah.
Then it's like.
And wait, not only that, but your girlfriend that you sleep in bed with every day is not like,
Never
babe,
noticed.
go get that shit
Yeah,
fixed.
nah,
Like
it's
that's
100%.
disgusting, babe.
Nah, it's a fact. That's a fact.
And
You can't touch me with your cootie hand.
so
Get your cootie hand away from me.
I thought acting overall with everybody horrible.
Oh God,
Uh,
especially the director of the art gallery.
Yeah.
Can't say I could not stand that guy.
That's why it
Then
was good that he
even I'll
Yeah.
even go back to all the killings. That killing was so fucking. That's why I laughed in the theater because it was just like she said. The last Candyman turns around because they're gonna do some grinding, and it was just like, boop, and then he runs up like
Oh, you talking
he
about?
just slices her throat and runs off screen, and then he's almost kind of like peekabooing, and then he cuts the screen. And it was just like in the visuals, that guy looked fake
Nah,
like,
he did. Yeah.
completely, and I was just like, this sucks. Even the part with the apartment, I already knew what was gonna happen. Once they zoomed out of the apartment,
That
it
you know,
was very
she was-
predictable.
But that was like the
I
first
knew-
movie. I
What?
think it was the first or the second one when the husband dies type shit. Like when
No,
they
but
killed him in
I'm
the
saying when the zooms
Zoom
out,
out.
Yeah.
the zoom out in the apartment, I already knew that either Candyman was gonna come out and do it, but they didn't show Candyman. They just saw her CGI flying in the room and then smashing
Yeah.
her head. Dumb. And then the girls and the thing, dumb. Nothing I liked. I was just
The
like,
only-
this is all garbage. But
One-
let me get
Okay, go ahead.
to the end. This is where, again, I started to like the folklore of like, okay, the injustices that are going on. So
Mm.
this guy becomes Candyman and takes his revenge.
Mm.
That's fine. I'm okay with that. Then you go, what the hell? Okay, why if the main guy is the baby from the first one,
Mhm.
but he's seeing the Candyman that the laundromat guy told him about? Why is he seeing the Candyman that the laundromat guy
Told him
has
about-
something to
yeah.
do with?
Not Tony Todd.
Not- Well, I understand why not Tony Todd. He's an old guy.
Well, he doesn't have his version of Candyman because
Yeah.
it wasn't really a version of his Candyman.
But-
Yeah.
yeah, why is he seeing that? Like you could have had a whatever face hacked or whatever. Nothing. So I was just like, that didn't make sense. Then the laundromat guy didn't make sense. Like on top of that, why did a bee sting transform him, make him dumb, so that this laundromat guy
can manipulate him.
That's
chop
the
off his
two
hand,
things,
stick in the thing.
Yeah.
He doesn't
That's,
get his
but
powers.
I did say that, yeah.
But
Until
those
he
are
dies.
but no, see the things that you point out that are bad, we're saying that are bad, but it's still
But that's the majority of the movie.
yeah, nah, but I'm just saying like it was still in the aspect like
But
it's a
okay,
watchable movie. Like you gotta look at it like
I
that.
would
Like
never go watch it again.
you would all right,
Never.
you probably wouldn't watch it again, but you obviously was willing to go watch it now.
Yeah, well, because I'm a
Because
fan of
it's
Candyman.
Candyman, yeah.
But I'll say
Kinda
this:
went.
this is the ending that I wish would have happened, and it would have made 100% sense if they did this in a movie, which is a take a little bit from the first one. You make him obsessed with Candyman. Everything he touches, people do that. Like what
Alright.
happened at
Yeah.
Art Gallery, they say Candyman, they die. They think it's him because
No, they
everything-
never.
But
That's
you
the
were-
one
no,
thing.
yeah.
No,
They
wait.
never insinuate that it was him.
I know. I'm saying they should have.
Yes, just like they did with her, with
Yes.
Helen in the first one.
Because at the end, fuck the laundromat guy. He didn't need to be in it besides telling
They
the
never
story.
really put him out as
He-
a wanted person.
Yeah,
It
for the
should have
explain
it
the
should
shit.
have been that everyone that he's close to, like he's like even the lady that he goes to the apartment and she dies that stupid way.
Yeah,
Again, he was the last person
Everybody-
to see her.
yeah.
So he and then at the end, somehow he's somewhere wrongfully accused. Maybe he has a hook in his hand because he
Alright.
stole it. He's trying to fight someone off.
Yeah.
Cops shoot him down. Then he
Let me-
becomes the new
let me
Candyman
ask you a
because that
question.
would make
Let me ask
sense.
you a
Yeah.
question.
Instead
Let me
of
ask-
wait.
I just gotta ask you. Nah, let me ask you a question.
Hold
'cause
it,
your
hold it,
breakdown,
hold
I get
it,
it.
hold
But I
it.
just want to ask because I really want to
Okay.
have this. I just
You're
feel
not
like
letting
this-
me finish with the
No,
movie.
no, I know, but let me because I really want to ask you this.
Okay.
And that because I just
Before
gotta
he
get this
forgets.
off. Yeah, that ass. Fucking, would you not recommend this movie? Like, because I get why you don't like it. I understand why you don't like it.
Mhm.
But let's say a person that's not a fan like you, that not like in this aspect of horror movie, would you not recommend it to someone else?
No, I wouldn't.
All right.
I don't like
That's
it,
all I'm
so,
asking. That's
yeah.
all
Yeah.
I'm asking.
So I would say at the end, that's what it should have been. Or maybe his wife goes and tries to find him and he's running away thinking that like the cops are looking for him. Something like that. Either her or him gets shot at the end. He comes back to revenge justice. Instead of that forced,
Yeah.
everyone's on the fucking ground already.
Yeah.
Put your hands down, blam, blam. You don't shoot her because you have magical aim and you shoot the body that's on top of her.
And it's not like the
And
bullets
then-
are gonna go through
And
and
then,
like
then it was a forced dialogue like all cops are evil. So
yeah.
yeah, hey, listen,
No,
you're
but
gonna
you
tell
know
my story.
that
You're gonna
part, yeah, that
instead of
part,
being
yeah.
like, what the fuck happened? Like, I'm so sorry, I saw the hook. Nothing. It was we already know that he was a fake Candyman, and you were holding his dead body in your arms, but we decided to shoot him anyway. So you're gonna take our story.
But can you really
and
be
you're not-
surprised about the fake cop thing after watching the Get Out movie and how it ended?
I'm saying it's forced.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
gave you a better.
Yes.
I feel that I just gave you a better movie. I'm not a
Yes.
writer.
No,
Yeah.
and I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm just saying like this, like
It's not
it's
surprising
not
that it
surprising.
happened.
I did not go into that movie thinking I was going to watch Candyman, a horror movie. I
Yeah.
was going to watch a movie, honestly, and I'll fucking say it because we're not fucking rich and famous. I was going to watch a slash political movie that was going to have
See.
those aspects that cops were going to die. Like I literally told you, I was like, yeah, I'm going to watch a movie where I'm going to see how white cops die.
I haven't seen the original in probably since last year. And I noticed something in this movie that I didn't notice if it happened or not in the original. Did Candyman kill any black person in the original?
He did.
And this one he did not.
No, I know.
Not
girl-
one
yeah.
person
Yeah.
in this movie
Yeah.
was a black person. And I'm
Yeah.
not saying, but I'm saying
Remember
I
the drug
understand
dealers
this.
and all that shit.
Yeah. Yeah, he
No.
killed every,
Yeah.
but that was why everybody was so scared of him because they wouldn't have cared if they all he killed
changed
was
the
white
law in a
people.
certain aspect.
Yeah,
Like,
but and
so-
also they
multiverse.
ignored Helen as a Candyman
Mhm.
altogether because she basically in the second
Yeah,
Candyman
it came
movie,
out.
she
No, it was the end of the first one.
no, but at the second, isn't there a second Candyman?
There's, there's 2 and 3 that are kind of like the same thing. Like it's
Oh,
his
okay.
late great granddaughter that's
Oh,
a
okay.
big titty blonde for some reason. But the other thing was
But yeah, they
Well-
totally ignored her except for the fact that like she was blamed for it or whatever. They kind of did that whole thing. But in essence, she became a Candyman. Like,
yes, yeah, because
no,
she was
does,
wrongfully
she does,
accused.
yeah.
But my
That's why
point is
Bloody
also
Mary
this.
was-
but
Which-
they cut that out because they want to keep it a black story. That's why.
But
Okay,
it's that aspect, but at the same time, like with the Helen shit, like they killed her. I remember like everybody was expecting her to have her own movie type shit, or it was
Yeah.
supposed to be
like Bloody Mary, yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
They
and
know
all
her
of that
name for
shit.
Mary.
But that's what it was. But like that, the originals, even though it did, like I thought, like yeah, it started with racism. Like he was a black person that hooked up with a white chick,
Right.
got killed wrongfully.
And
all
the
that
reason why
happens,
he
but this
picked Helen
movie-
is because Helen reminded him
Yeah,
of
like,
his girlfriend.
This movie was like, all right, we're gonna take this, and since this is what's going on in the world,
Yes,
it's gonna relate. And
I
we knew it was gonna happen. This is why you can't get mad at it. It's like
understand
you
that.
know, you just gotta hope that it's.
But they
told in
could have
a
done
good
it,
way.
which it
You
wasn't.
Hope that it's told in a good way.
And I understand that. I know it's gonna be a political thing, and I don't care about not having a black person die in a movie. That was just something I noticed.
Yeah.
And the other thing is exactly what you said. They made him a vigilante hero
Yeah.
instead of making him the villain he should be. He was a villain in the first movie. He took a baby into the fire as a sacrifice.
Yeah.
And this one, it's like, say my name and I'll rescue you from white devils and shit like that. So it was just kind of like, they never did, like, you could make a cool ass fun character. Cause I always say like, goddamn Nightmare on Elm Street.
Mhm.
He was always a villain. He's killing children,
But
but
he-
he makes it fun. So you like him
You turned around to
because of
like,
what he's
yeah,
doing. So
yeah.
you could like Candyman for what he's doing, but no one would ever say that Freddy Krueger is a fucking superhero vigilante, supernatural. Like,
Well, you can't really say
Now
that
this
when
is-
he's a child pedophile as well.
well, that is true. But that's why I said I absolutely hated the
It's
fucking
like a
movie.
hard, like,
It's all those
it's a
things.
hard breakdown. It's a very hard breakdown because of the aspect. Like, it's what it is. Like, it's you knew going into this movie, he was going to turn it political somehow in some way.
The political part is
And
not the
that's
problem.
why I couldn't go into it. Like I said, like it was gonna be a good movie, but it
Okay,
wasn't
okay,
gonna.
people-
It wasn't gonna be the original movie. It wasn't going to have any of that. The just in the ghetto aspect, just a ghetto
Yeah.
story, urban legend. What it
I
should be.
I would
Yeah.
have I would have liked it a little bit better if there was not the whole bee sting thing. That was
Yeah.
dumb. I would have liked it a little bit more if maybe the laundromat guy was more of a helpful force rather than a manipulative one. Because it would have been cool to like see him be like, oh shit, like it's got another one. You know what I mean? Like it got hold of somebody else. Or you know what I mean? Like, or warning him, like, brother, like you need to like really watch, don't mess with this, blah, blah, blah. Like
Yeah.
that to me, I felt would have been a little bit
And would
Better.
it have been better if he was trying to manipulate something? And I mean, story wise, it would be better.
See,
If
but-
say if someone in his family got shot by the police wrongfully, that he wanted Candyman to come back
Nah, they
and
should
bring
have shown him
justice,
knowing how to do fucking voodoo, because then it would have made sense.
and that would have made a little bit more sense. But I
yeah,
feel
but
like
it wasn't it was never a voodoo.
Nah, there
thing.
was voodoo in like the third movie.
Oh, okay.
yeah, they
Nah,
went to
this-
New Orleans. That was
New
his, like,
Orleans.
great-granddaughter.
I
I'm
don't know.
sorry, there's just a lot of Candyman.
So
out
there's
there.
there's a 3 likes and a hate.
I hate, yeah.
Well,
I would
you know what? The
absolutely
3 likes
hate
and
it.
I hate isn't bad because, like, I'm not saying one, I didn't give it a number rating, so that's one. So at the end of the day, like, I'm not gonna give it like a low number rating after all this breakdown. 'cause I'm just gonna put that out there. But it's still like at least it's an 8.5 to me, where I feel like comfortable enough that if I feel like you're not a movie goer like that, like,
You'll enjoy it.
Yeah, you're gonna like it because it's something to watch. Type shit.
Yeah.
Like the person that's a movie watcher, like that's why I'm Zach Nick. Like he watches shit different. Like I understand because that's the way I watch like sports and I watch it.
You're
Like, I
very
know
critical.
It's a different, yeah, it's a
Mhm.
different mindset. So that's why I said, like, how would you judge it to like tell someone that doesn't really give a F like the way you do, and be like, yo, you could watch, yeah, it's a movie that you could just pop on. Like I said, like Marvel movies, in my opinion, you don't have to know shit about the characters and you could watch them and enjoy the movies.
Yeah.
Like if you could do that, then it's a good movie.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, even if you hate the shit that's in the movie, because you have your nitpicky issues with it, it's still a good movie. You know what I mean? Like You hate Iron Man 3. You know what? Somebody might actually be out there actually likes it.
Yeah.
Because they don't know no better.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Just
Like,
looking at stuff.
it is what it is. Like, it's just what it is.
What about you, Thomas? What number rating do you give it?
Like something out of 10, maybe like an 8. Now that we're talking about it, there are some different, like some changes that could have been made to the movie to make it a little bit better. It wasn't very, I definitely think at the end it was very political, like way too political in its thing where he was laying down that was stupid. The Sting was a little dumb, and I don't know why they had the guy like seem like he was controlling him. I didn't understand that. It kind of reminds me, there's a movie series called Tales in the Hood, but it started out as a good thing.
I gotta make it Yo, this boy wasn't even alive when that fucking
He does his research.
I do my research, and it just progressively gets a little bit more stupider and just gets a little bit more like obvious in its political message. Like there's a one thing where there's like a bigot in a cage. Like
Oh yeah, that was the last story. I agree with you with
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
the gangsters in the last story.
Well, the first and the last story basically had the same shit.
All right, so you give it an 8.
Yeah, about an 8.
Okay. I think I probably would have given it an 8 until I started really thinking about all the negatives and the positives, like side by side.
She's admitting her truth. Yeah, I gotta get a mic for you.
I don't know.
Nick swayed into her.
I'm not even trying to sway.
I think I would have said an 8 as well, but rethinking it, maybe a 7.5. Because I have to admit, when I walked out of the movie theater, I did enjoy it. I was happy, but I think I was more happy because
It wasn't stupid.
it wasn't the worst thing I've ever seen. Like watching Us got me angry, and I was expecting another Us.
See, Us didn't get me angry, but I get why people didn't like it. And I'm not gonna say I loved it, but I was gonna be like, after I watched it, I was just like, oh, like I was just like I felt nothing.
Yeah.
I had nothing. I was just like,
But that's what I
dragged me
and I
through
also
this.
watched, like the when he did the new Twilight Zones, and those fell flat. Like I couldn't even like pay attention to half of them.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I was expecting, and this was a little bit more entertaining a lot more entertaining than that. So I think that's why I left the movie theater a little bit more like, oh, this was great. And then now that when I'm thinking back at it, I'm like, yeah, that was dumb, and this was dumb, and
You know what?
and there were certain things in the like when I was in the movie theater going, why are they doing that? Or oh, they should have done this. And then but on the other hand, I was also like very nostalgic off of like, oh, that was from Poltergeist, and that was from The Fly, and that was from, so I kind of got nostalgic at the same time. So it's a little bit of everything.
See, because the nostalgia is what is like. I love the fact that they pay homage to the original shit.
Yeah.
That's one
That
of
was
my
one of the
favorite.
things I liked
And then
about
like,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I said 8.5 only off the fact that the 5 is literally the song is still stuck in my head. Or I keep hearing like I don't.
That they played at the very
Like,
end, yeah.
It's one of my favorite like horror movie things like this, Halloween, Candyman, and
I
Freddy.
just can't believe they
Like,
didn't take
that
advantage.
they have like a theme music that you
Yeah.
hear it and you know what's up. Like,
I really wish they would have had like a really stripped down, creepy version of the Candyman can.
Oh yeah.
They done it, but you
They
know
lost
what?
a missed opportunity.
You got mad at the Say My Name shit when they did the
She
the
said,
Destiny's Child.
No,
shit. Oh, you
I
were
got
One
mad
of y'all
at
were
that.
mad
I
it.
was mad.
but they didn't do that. They didn't do that. They only
They-
did it in the
yeah.
trailer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
they
didn't do
don't
the
know.
Say My Name thing, but I would have enjoyed a creepy Candyman can, because that
Yeah.
song is
It would've
fucking
been.
weird to
It's
begin
already-
with.
Yeah.
So having a stripped
But-
out, but it could have been even just whistled, by like, I figured to me, like when the guy came out of the cave, instead of saying anything to the boy, he should have just whistled
He
the
hummed
candy.
it.
No,
He
he
hummed it,
didn't.
Yes, he goes.
Mhm.
But you, you barely heard it.
Yeah, he did, but he did. Yeah.
Like fucking whistle. If you can't whistle, dub over it. Somebody else whistling. You know,
That's
the
why you
Candyman can.
needed Tony Todd to do the deep ass voice. Like
Mhm.
bass
Yeah.
in your ears.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
you could barely hear what he was humming. You just
Yeah.
heard humming.
Yeah, I see humming.
And I thought that would have been a more impactful. And like when the kid was walking up the stairs, he could have full out sang it. The Candyman can't, you know what I
Well,
mean? And like
When he was
that would
walking
have been
up the
kind of
stairs,
because
was
he
in
seemed
shock.
like, but he
was in
seemed
fucking shock. That's why he dropped the candy and then he got.
no,
the
no,
man
not
killed.
that the
That
kid
was
should
the-
have sang it. I'm saying that the guy at the bottom of the stairs should have been singing it in the corner because he
Ah,
seemed
I
half
think he was
retarded.
special. Yeah, I thought he was.
He
special.
seemed half retarded. Oh, sorry, you can't say retarded. Sorry. He seemed special needs.
She's gonna be canceled from my network. So don't listen to me.
She's never gonna be on this podcast again.
Don't worry.
So now say goodbye.
We do that whole
Sorry,
thing that people do. Like,
We
But you
say
know
too
what-
many curses anyway.
But you know what I
Person's
mean?
okay,
Like he
fucking.
seemed special needs, and they should have done something where he opened the candy and they were fine, and he was just a weirdo that liked to give kids
Just
candy.
Yeah.
You know, because we all have like that weird, you know, been dropped on his head too many times that wanders around, you know, or maybe like
I have one at
dropped
this
way too
apartment
much.
complex.
Yeah.
He rolls around. I was sitting in a car with a friend, and he just comes out to my
Uh.
window. He's like, "Hi, how are you?" I was like,
I would've-
"Hi." I was like,
Listen, one, you ain't coming up to my fucking
um.
So
So
you what like a
I'm
0,
gonna-
0.5?
no, I won't give it a 0 because
'Cause we've watched-
movie.
yeah,
that
we've
seen.
watched
No,
some-
no,
I'm not
They
gonna
gonna
say
be ahead.
that.
They gonna be like 5.
I'm going to say 5, but I'm gonna say a reluctant 5 because maybe I just have to rewatch it again. There's certain movies that I
You just
rewatched in
gotta
my
let it
life.
go, man. Just let it go.
What?
Just let it go.
No, sometimes when I rewatch it, like for example, like Napoleon Dynamite, I fucking hate it.
Lord, I'll give you that. I hate
And then
that
when I
movie, but love
rewatched
now.
it,
Yeah.
it's just like, yo,
Yeah,
this is
I
kind
love
of
it
funny.
now.
It's the same. It's
Yeah.
almost the same thing with Talladega Nights. I first hated it,
Yeah.
and then I rewatched it, and I was like, "Yo, this is fucking
Nigga, I think
hilarious."
I watched that movie with you for the first time, and we both hated it. And then later on, it was like we both ended up.
I know,
It was
like,
like,
we
yo,
got mad
this scene
quotes.
is mad funny. This scene is mad
So
funny.
maybe I have to do that
Yeah.
because maybe there was something. Maybe I was just being too nitpicky, and I
Yeah.
really wasn't.
And you
trying
went
to go
in very
there.
cynical.
I wasn't even trying to go in there,
Nah,
cynical,
you did,
because
son. Because when
I
I was
honestly
walking
thought-
in, I was like, Candyman. I was hyped, and you're like, oh, it's gonna suck. I'm like, oh, this nigga's already. on.
yeah, because I just haven't seen a good.
Well, and
horror
you're
movie.
you're negative to begin with.
Yeah, I was, but
No, like,
sometimes
in
that
life.
works for me. Well, yeah, but sometimes that works for me because when something's good,
Then you
then I'm like, hell yeah.
yeah.
So that's why negativity kind of works for me sometimes. But
In this case,
I'm
it
gonna
does
give it
not.
a reluctant 5, and I'll come back to it. And when I watch it illegally, because I'm not paying for it,
Make the sunrise.
I'm going to see if I change my mind on things. But a 5. so.
Candyman can. Yo, listen. I fuss with Candyman. That nigga scared me my
The
whole
original.
childhood.
The original.
Like-
Original, what?
There was Candyman and Bloody Mary. You don't say that shit.
Yeah.
No mirror, no nothing. My God. Like,
Oh my
that
God,
was
well,
it.
We used to torture poor Nikki when we were kids. We had this surround sound in our living room, and I think did we have Candyman on VHS
Yeah.
or something? I don't
Well,
remember.
Yeah. They didn't have DVDs then.
No, I couldn't remember if it was VHS or Betamax, but it's not that old. Candyman's not that
we
old.
only got Betamax when our uncle passed.
Yeah. But we played that movie one summer. Oh God, it had to be like at least every other day Candyman was on.
Way more.
And we used to trap him in the bathroom.
Imagine it's him, Nick. I'd be scared.
Oh, we tortured this poor kid. Sorry.
People from the
It's all right.
90s
I was tortured too. If I had family members say they could talk about it.
I'm
So-
convinced that kids from the 90s and 80s were terrible human beings.
We were. Hey, listen, our lives was so bad. You have no idea. Like, you're lucky that you don't interact with people.
Yeah. I am. I probably am.
People suck. No, I'm just- that is a horrible thing to tell somebody young.
All right. So